So here's the thing, everybody listening to me today. You want power, and I don't mean the little power of the world. I mean the real thing. You want the real thing, authentic power. Surrender your life over to the Holy Spirit. Say, Lord, look, it's not what I want. It's not my projects and plans. It's your projects and plans. Lord, it's what you want to accomplish through me. You will find, trust me, you will tap into this source of power to change things for good, change things for the better in your life, in your family, in your place of work. Surrender by a conscious act to the Spirit, and you unleash this great driving wind. Same thing. And then secondly, we hear, and there appeared to them tongues as of fire, which parted and came to rest on each one of them. Tongues as of fire. So fire is a symbol of the Spirit, obviously. Fire which destroys what needs destroying. Fire that also unleashes extraordinary power. I sensed that when I was in California, and these great fires swept through, forests and swept through communities. But the important thing here, I think, is not just fire. It's tongues as of fire. One of the marks of the Holy Spirit, power, yes indeed, but also fiery speech. Fiery speech is a mark of the Holy Spirit. Now, this is from Paul through Chrysostom and Jerome and Augustine and Anselm and Aquinas and Ignatius and G.K. Chesterton and John Paul II and the Little Flower and Teresa of Avila. Words, the power of words, fiery speech. I don't mean the sort of mewling speech of a child or sort of hand-wringing speech or I got more questions than answers. I mean, bore me to death with all that. I grew up with that, a church that was too preoccupied with all of its questions and all of its hesitations. No. When you got the Holy Spirit in you, fiery speech tends to come forth from you. Words about the Lord, words about Jesus, words about the church that are meant to set the world on fire. Think of Fulton Sheen in the 20th century. His fiery words changed people's hearts and lives by the millions. That's what the Holy Spirit does, fiery speech. Now, as we go on in this marvelous passage, we hear this. There were devout Jews from every nation under heaven staying in Jerusalem, because it was the Jewish feast of Pentecost, right? At this sound, they gathered in a large crowd, but they were confused because each one heard the disciples speaking in his own language. So this famous phenomenon of the first Pentecost. The disciples go out, full of power, full of fiery speech, and all these Jews from all over the world nevertheless heard them speaking in his own language. It's the undoing of Babel, isn't it? The Tower of Babel, when human speech was divided. We're set apart from each other, separated, scattered. In this great act of Pentecost, this great day of Pentecost, the speech of the world is united. Now, it doesn't mean, obviously, that now all particular languages are eliminated. But see, it means something deeper and more important. It means that when you speak of the Holy Spirit and the things of God, you are communicating with the deepest part of the person you're talking to. You can talk about the weather, you can talk about sports teams, but so what? But when you're talking about the Holy Spirit, when your tongue is on fire with the power of the Spirit, you will, trust me, reach the deepest part of the person you're talking to. Same the other way. When he or she speaks of the Holy Spirit, it will resonate in the deepest part of you. See, deep down, despite all the differences on the surface, we all do indeed speak the same language because we come forth from the same source, from the Holy Spirit. That's the point here, I think, everybody.